something that we think's fact, going off of memory, and you Google it and find out we're wrong, let us know in the comments, and we'll correct ourselves.
I have no objection to that. So.
Yeah, we're old, Victor. We get loopy. loopy.
And also we talk about the fact that people can advertise with us.
Yeah, they can. And I know people out there that have roofing businesses, and they've taken off really, really big, and they're based in Missouri and Arizona. And anyway, if they were to start advertising with us, how's it look?
That looks good, yeah.
If they were to start advertising with us, that would be kind of cool. We'd really promote them.
Right.
Just saying. You know what I mean, Victor?
And we can also do business cards through the broadcast, or this little spot right here.
Yeah.
Can be maneuvered to fit an advertising sticker or something like that.
And we could do a really good ad like, hey, if you've had hail damage or any kind of storm damage, these particular people are experts in working with your insurance company. That's what they do to minimize the amount of out-of-pocket expense you'd have to replace your entire roof.
Or
you know what I'm saying, Victor?
Or if you're a plumber and you need your pipes cleaned.
That's right. Anything like that.
Anytime.
But in particular, I'm just saying, people ought to advertise. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. So, today's topic, we talked about super stadium bands.
Yeah, big hair band. Well, some of them were hair bands. They were kind of later. They were kind of a little later. But
I never got into some of them.
And first off, Victor and I are approaching 60. That means Victor and I were born in the early 60s. That means Victor and I, at a young age, got to listen to some of the best music ever created. Because about mid-80s, music kind of started to go to shit. But prior to that, the 70s music was incredible. The 60s music was incredible.
I tend to lean towards 80s music myself, because that was my formative years of being a
But in their
adult.
tipping point, past the mid-80s,
88, 89, I got into bands in the 80s, and we'll go backwards at this point, I guess. So in the 80s, I got into a lot of Duran Duran.
Yeah, the Reflex.
Flex. Yeah, and I got into some of the edgier bands that would call it, because I started watching a lot of MTV.
Oh yeah,
MTV would show
81, coming around 81, didn't it?
MTV would show all the bands that I really enjoyed, or I actually discovered through MTV.
Yeah,
and so that was the big point for me. And then I did college radio, which I got exposed to a lot of bands like General Public, Fine Young Cannibals, which were the same thing. English Beat, which was basically the same band.
I was doing radio in Warrensburg when you were doing radio in Kansas City.
Yeah, and so I got exposed to bands that you never hear, like Scritti Politti. Remember that group?
No.
See, that's a group that I really like. The Cure.
Oh yeah, everybody knows The Cure.
The Cure
looked like Edward Scissorhands.
Just bands like that were, but of course you still had, the Van Halens were still around and putting out hit after hit. Tears for Fears.
Yeah.
Big time band.
There were some of them I didn't like. I never was fond of U2. I never liked U2.
I told you the story about U2.
Yeah. You got it when they were first taken off.
Yeah.
But I never liked them. There were some big bands that I just was never fond of. In Excess had a few hits I liked, but for the most part, I didn't like In Excess. But there were a bunch of them there. Was never into Pink Floyd. Never. Were you ever into Pink Floyd?
No. I was a bandwagon fan of Pink Floyd. Just like I was a bandwagon fan of Aerosmith.
Yeah, and Rush.
I enjoyed Rush.
You did.
The Rush.
Eric, our buddy Eric that passed away. Eric was a big time Rush guy. I loved Rush.
Kevin McDowell introduced me to Rush, to Spirit of the Radio. And I was hooked ever since.
Yeah, they had that song Tom Sawyer.
Tom Sawyer. That was a little bit. The next.
That was a later one.
Yeah, but I never really got into the Moody Blues, which was.
There was a Wildest Dreams, I think, was the mainstream hit. Now, did they do Nights in White Satin?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, and that was before. That was
Here was me listening to that song when all my friends were enjoying it.
Yeah, Nights in White Satin. Yeah. Well, and I always got them confused with Blue Oyster Cult.
Really?
Remember, there was kind of similar Blue
And
Oyster
it's so
Cult.
funny that Blue Oyster Cult got really popular again because of Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
In the skit, which was, and I saw
More cowbell.
I saw Blue Oyster Cult at the Voodoo Lounge here in Kansas City at Harrah's Casino.
Was it the original guys?
It was like 3 original guys were still in the band, and I took my friend Scott, and Scott was drunk and screaming more cowbell. And of
More
course,
cowbell.
they were going off. I mean, they thought it was so funny, and then when they did that song, people were yelling it through the whole song. So it's I like Blue Oyster Cult. Like I said before, I never got into Aerosmith that much. You know, I mean, they're okay, and I'll listen to them. I was more of a bandwagon fan of them, not like a super following. Def Leppard. Yeah. Okay, I saw them in concert.
Aerosmith died and went away, and then they came back. Remember? And do you remember what brought them back? When it Run DMC or somebody did Walk This Way again.
Yeah,
they redid them with a video and included them, and then all of a sudden they were bigger than ever, which is odd. And then his bastard child come out of the woodwork, old Liv Tyler, and remember, and she became super popular.
She's so beautiful. Though.
Have you seen her lately?
No.
Yeah. We have another show we're going to do called Bad Facelifts, and I think she'll be probably the main her and Meg Ryan and that one model lady that looks like a cat now. Those will be the 3 that we talk. It's terrible. She's on this 911 Austin or 911 Texas or 911 Houston, somewhere down, Austin. With Rob Lowe.
Right.
And she's on there, and I didn't recognize her, but I can't say enough for aging naturally, as opposed to
fixing it,
and because it's never normal. It's just never normal. And I've had nose work done, but because I couldn't breathe. But this is still what my nose looked like. But I've had the middle piece of my nose is a plastic piece.
I can remember growing up, and my friend Scott would drive around with Aerosmith and another group, Nazareth. I was another.
How were you into Black Sabbath too?
I never was. No.
Was Nazareth the one that says, "Now you're messing with a son of a bitch"? You're messing with the son of a bitch. Isn't that Nazareth?
It might be, but he would listen to that cassette in his car nonstop.
Here's what I was into: Bob Seger. I was into Bob Seger, Kenny Loggins. Always, because of the Caddyshack soundtrack and all that. I loved Kenny Loggins.
Love Kenny Loggins.
Eagles. That Eagles Long Run album came out around my senior year, and I think every song on that thing was a hit, except the only one that didn't make number 1. The Greeks Don't Want No Freaks. That one didn't make number 1, but I love that song.
I was a late comer to to Queen.
Oh, I loved Queen.
I didn't. I liked a few of their songs, but I was a late comer to their huge fan of their music later. I mean, before Freddie Mercury passed away, I was still a fan.
I have a little bit of a superpower, and what it is if I find a comic book or something that I bought back in the 70s, I'll remember where I was and what was going on around me when I purchased that, when I got that book. And DC Special Green Lantern issue number 16 in Harrisonville. The Scavuzzo's grocery store had a little department store opened up next to it. I was in there, very young. Killer Queen came on. And I remember looking at that comic, and I thought, wow. And they had a music department, and I went and bought the single of Killer Queen.
Oh, yeah. You bought
I'd never heard a song like that.
You bought singles back then.
You bought singles. Yeah, you didn't waste your money on a whole album.
Right.
Because you thought the whole album might suck, so you wanted that single.
Well, We Will Rock You came out, which was
the next, it was like 2 albums later.
Huge hit. And I can remember having the single, and you finish one, you'd have to flip it over.
Yeah, to get the other half of the song.
Because it was so long.
Yeah. And remember 8 tracks? We've talked about this before.
Oh, 8-track
tapes. For those of you that never experienced an 8-track tape, the sound quality was like almost up there with digital. But a lot of times they couldn't fit a whole song on one track. So it would fade. It would start to fade, Foreigner, Cold as Ice. Cold as, then click. And then, you know that you are, it cut the song right in half.
It wasn't click, it was click, click.
Yeah, click, click.
Click,
yeah.
click. Yeah, and then
But it cut the song right, and most of the cars back then had 8-track tapes. Now cassettes were around too. They were around since the '60s, and they lasted for a long time. They were still being put in cars in the 2000s. Cassettes were, but that technology wasn't as good. And cassettes always gummed up, and you always had to take a pencil and tighten them up, put them back in there. But Queen, when it came out, when Queen, and also another big band, Police.
Oh,
Those ones did. Yes. But let's talk about backing up and talk about Eagles. Do you know the history on that Eagles group a little bit?
I've watched the documentary like 3 or 4 times.
I've never seen the documentary, but I know that I've read they were Linda Ronstadt's band, right?
Right.
They were Linda Ronstadt, and they approached Linda Ronstadt and said, we would like to break out on our own. And she said, most diva artists would be, I'll destroy you. She said, what can I do to help you?
Yeah, and got them going.
And got them going. And a phenomenal group. Of course, Eagles, their biggest hit, Hotel California.
Right.
I would think.
Right.
We got a fly in here. There's a fly. You see the fly buzzing around?
Oh, yeah. They were constant. That and besides the Eagles, Journey
and Foreigner. Yeah.
Journey and Foreigner were a big time acts who I got to see. I've seen them both in the 80s. I saw Journey twice.
I've never seen Foreigner.
I saw Foreigner in the 80s, which was Jukebox Hero Tour.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Styx and REO Speedwagon
also
were
huge. Those were mega bands.
Huge.
Which disappoints me because I still love hearing Styx music.
Yeah.
And I've seen Styx since
Dennis DeYoung
left.
Yeah.
And the guy that looks like him and sounds a lot like him, but it's still not Styx. You know what I mean? It's not. And I've seen Dennis DeYoung in concert. Let me tell you where I saw him.
Where?
Saw him in St. Joe, Missouri. And every year they have this big festival. And Trails West.
Okay.
And I saw Dennis DeYoung perform there. And he did every Styx song that he was part of.
And he was no longer with the group?
He was no longer with the group.
And St. Joe... Did you live there for a while ever?
No, never lived there.
Yeah. Now,
I know people from there.
Yeah. Yeah, they were, their big St. Joe promotion, their tourist promotion was St. Joe, Missouri, where the Pony Express began and Jesse James ended. Yeah. Remember that? Jesse James ended.
I used to tease people about that, that Jesse James is pretty big time there.
Yeah.
I said, you realize he was kind of a bandit. He was kind of a robbing, killing guy. And
right.
I said, what do you have the Al Capone Memorial Highway somewhere up here? So, yeah. He wasn't the nicest guy, but a legend.
Yeah.
To people.
There were some things he did, and he was, of course, Civil War, right? Mm-hmm. Him and the Youngers were Civil War. And
they were guerrilla fighters.
Yeah. And then they came, after the Civil War, and there was some stuff they did down in Cass County. There was a lady lost her husband and her son in the Civil War, and then they had stole her horses, and then they found out that she was a widower, and had lost her head, and they brought their horses back to her. That's a big story. They brought the horses back to her because they were criminals, but they were sympathetic to the cause. They asked him, "Why do you rob banks?" And he said, "Remember, that's where the money is."
Well, yeah, that's true.
That's where the money is.
I can remember. Growing up with the legends of Jesse James and all those, the Youngers.
The Youngers.
The Youngers were... And great movie. The movie with... where it was all these different famous brothers playing these parts. The Carradines played the Youngers.
What was the name of that
and
thing? Ride with the Devil, maybe?
No,
Ride with the Devil?
Wasn't, I'll think of it. But then the Keach brothers were Jesse James and Frank James.
Huh.
And then the Quades were in it. Yeah. I don't remember who they played. I wish there was a device.
Yeah.
That we could type in a question.
Yeah, there was something, even that you could talk into it.
Yeah.
Did a little icon maybe that looked like a microphone or something.
But yeah, there's a that movie was a great movie, and I remember watching it.
But it's not Ride with the Devil.
No, that's the one with Jewel.
Yeah.
And that was a later one, filmed in Kansas, by the way.
Yeah. I think it had Tobey Maguire maybe in it, didn't it?
Yes.
It had Tobey Maguire?
Very young Tobey Maguire was in that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to look up Stacy Keach because that's who I remember being in that film.
Stacy Keach. You know, he and Joaquin Phoenix have the cleft lip. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's kind of made them both huge. Made them both famous.
The
Being a little different.
Long Riders.
The Long Riders.
The Long Riders were the name of that movie. And 1980.
Isn't that something? That's a long time ago.
1980. And let's just for giggles, James Keach, Robert Carradine, Stacy Keach, David Carradine, Dennis Quaid, Keith Carradine. Hold on. I went too far. But an amazing cast. To begin
sounds
with.
like it.
Randy Quaid, Christopher Guest.
And Dennis Quaid. Was Dennis Quaid in it?
Dennis Quaid was in it.
Christopher Guest.
Nicholas Guest.
Christopher Guest, is he married to Jamie Lee Curtis?
Yes.
So I thought.
No.
I thought he was.
Yeah, he is. Nicholas Guest is his brother. They played Bob Ford. They played the Ford brothers.
It's amazing.
Let's see.
He's known for all those crazy movies, Best in Show, and
Best in Show.
oh, he was one of the band members in This Is Spinal Tap, which is one of the best mock rockumentaries ever made. That was
Best in Show is one of my favorite movies of all time. Waiting for Guffman.
He's Guffman.
Yeah,
I think he's actually Guffman in the end.
Well, no, he plays the director.
Oh, that's
Corky,
right.
Corky St. Clair. Whenever I'm feeling down on myself, I would maybe post something kind of like.
Did they do the Mighty Wind too?
Yes,
the Mighty Wind. They had a bunch of those good.
My friend Tony would send me a message that says, "We love you, Corky."
We're gonna get Tony in here as a guest.
I've tried. He'll come around. But anyway, good movie, The Long Riders. Back 1980. I remember when that came out. Great movie.
Well, you know, some of the music back then, they always lend their talents to movie soundtrack, and commercials.
Do that anymore? I mean, it's.
I don't know.
It's rare to find good soundtracks to a movie now. To me.
Well, Caddyshack had "I'm All Right," Kenny Loggins. Remember?
Yep.
That "I'm All," and then "Journey," "Any Way You Want It." Remember they had those two big songs.
And they probably made pennies.
Yeah.
Compared to now, what they would make now.
Yeah.
That's probably made pennies.
We have the music industry. I don't know how they came to an agreement on streaming and YouTube and things like that, how they get paid. You know, it's not like it was. Now I think they make their money like touring, don't they? For the most part.
I would tend to agree with you. I don't know if that's their main. I mean, the deal is the record deals.
Yeah.
You know, you get the record companies to pay you up front, and that's where the bulk of the money, I believe, comes from. Well, we'll get somebody in here.
I mean, Elvis. Remember, Elvis had that album that said over 10 million records sold. Remember that or something? Remember Elvis? That was on the album cover. Had him standing there in the gold suit, and I thought 10 million records. Do you know how much money that made, Colonel Tom Parker?
And you remember the Ray Charles movie?
Yeah.
Where it was the big deal. He was going to be making 2 to 3 cents a record sold.
Yeah.
2 to 3 cents a record sold, which probably, I don't know what the rates are now, but.
Yeah, what was a record back then? Yeah, how much was a record?
Probably 15, 20 cents.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Well, we could look it up. I mean, price of a record, would that be 1964, 63, something like that? Yeah. Or maybe sooner than that. 50s.
Now, okay, when I was a kid, I had two sisters, one 5 years older than me, her name was Trudy, and one 6 years older than me, her name was Kara. They shared the bedroom across the hall from me, okay? Upper part of the house, they had the big bedroom, so they both slept, and had two beds in there, and they both slept in there. But they had a record player, and they had 45s. And so my musical taste kind of stemmed from what they liked. And they had the song by the Archies, Sugar, Sugar, Honey, Honey.
Mm-hmm.
And they had Melody, Brand New Key. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I got a brand new pair
price
of
a record
Uh-huh.
in 1950s.
Uh-huh.
Vinyl, 85 cents.
And that was for an album.
No.
That'd be an
Well,
album.
it said vinyl 85 cents, but then the cost of the latest release was $1.25.
Oh, okay. So they had
Higher than gas.
Yeah. But my sister, Karen Trudy, they shared a closet, this giant closet, which had my parents not lived in the lower bedroom, my sisters were occupying the master bedroom, basically, right? Mm-hmm. So in their closet, they had Teen Beat, and Tiger Magazine pasted on there, and little psychedelic stuff on the wall, and they had David Cassidy.
Oh, yeah.
And,
David Cassidy. Yeah.
Oh, God, who else? But that was the era. We're talking 70s. So David Cassidy, who else?
I'm sure.
Here's another early memory involving music. You'll love this. We were at Truman Corners. Rare occasion, my dad was with us. And we got the car and we're listening to the song. This is the song I'm talking about. And Kara was probably 16, so I'd been 10. And they keep saying, and it was Man for Man, Blinded by the Light. She goes, listen to this part. Wrapped up like a deuce and rolling in the night. And Dad goes, yeah, I think that's what he's saying. And I said, what? What is what he's saying? And, what they were talking about, it sounded like douche.
Yeah.
Wrapped up,
right.
But it was wrapped up like a deuce, like a little deuce coupe.
Yeah.
The race car, right?
In later years, you find that out.
Yeah, you'd find out many, many years
Right.
later
I mean,
that he's
it's
not
like-
talking about
yeah,
Massengill. But anyway, here I am 10, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. What's a douche? I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
I can remember Melanie, that song. I remember that one distinctly. Mm-hmm. I remember Blinded by the Light. Was that the song that was on the jukebox in the area after lunch? And everybody would gather, and when they had a jukebox, and
I don't remember.
They played that over and over and over again.
Because back then, all the kids would go, oh, he's like douche.
Yeah, well, but then the science teacher, Mr. Allman, would come out with the key and turn it down.
Yeah.
And everybody would boo him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good old Mr. Allman.
I love that guy. He just passed away. Like 3 years ago. Just passed away.
Our old science teacher.
He had to be up there. Yeah, he had to be up there. He was a World War II veteran. So, really good guy, though. I learned a lot from him. I remember sitting down, 7th grade year, sitting down for dinner with my parents, and I said, how was school today? Fine. Mr. Allman said, he goes, hey, I lived through that shit with both your sisters. I don't want to hear anymore what Mr. Allman said, so I could never talk about it. Because, my sisters had repeated everything Mr. Allman said. It was very interesting. Everything he said was kind of,
He would give us interesting facts. I remember 7th grade, he would talk about, by the time you're in your mid to late 20s, Kansas City would be all the way down to Springfield and north as far as St. Joseph, Missouri. Yeah. And he's not that far off.
No. Well, he said by the year 2000 was what he told Mike. By the year 2000, he said, and there'll be such a celebration. And also the population will be double on the planet. And I think when I graduated, it was 2.8 billion. And it was almost 6 billion by 2000. So he was dead spot on. But I thought, by 2000, though, I'll be 37. I'll be too old to enjoy it. I remember actually thinking that.
Mr. Allman.
Mr. Allman. Good guy.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr.
We had some classic teachers. We really did. We had some classic teachers.
I know looking back now, I could tell you right now that he wasn't that bad of a person. I know he had his battles with some of my classmates, but he wasn't that bad of a guy. Yeah. I can tell you right now that probably...
He was our science teacher.
He was our science teacher. I don't remember anybody else that I would consider decent by my... You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm out. That's it. I'll go him. Yeah. That's it. Not like...
Yeah. We had some coaches that were pretty interesting. Before you got to Midway, we had one that had taken our football team to like state championship level, and his name was Lane Phillips, and he died in a car wreck. And I tell you what, when that happened, that just devastated the entire community. And he had been from Adrian, I believe, and his parents continued to live in Adrian, but he died, and that just devastated. And they thought, well, he's irreplaceable. And then Laurel Hobbick came in, and Coach Hobbick, but I mean, he took him state championship.
I was on that 1978 team.
Yeah,
I was a freshman.
State championship. Who did we play? I know the semifinals was down in Chaffee.
Yep. We played Princeton.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Princeton. We played them at home.
Yeah.
It was before they started playing like
he'd been a Marine Corps person. He was kind of a badass, and you just didn't want to mess with him.
I played freshman year for him, and he was a Rough Rider.
Yeah, and his assistant coach, Larry Burchett, is still the coach there, I think, now at Midway. Still there, yeah.
Still there?
And he got a year ago, popped up on my Facebook a year ago, he got like an award in the Hall of Fame, Missouri Hall of Fame, and so did the Midway football team. You're a member.
Oh,
I
am.
Hall of Fame. Yeah, you'd be a member of the Hall of Fame. Cool, yeah. Get a little plaque.
Didn't go.
We can actually buy a ring now. Back then, they didn't offer us rings.
I know about the celebration that happened because our friend Robert.
Yeah.
Don't say his last name.
He was there, Kenny.
Yeah.
And so was his brothers.
Yep, he was
Brandon
there,
James.
and I didn't. He called me and like, hey, you want to go? I'm like,
no,
I'm out.
But I tell you what, Coach Burchett can be a little prickly sometimes, but his speech that he made there, because hell, everybody was there except you. Sorry. Hey, I hit this. Did it mess it up?
No, I didn't.
Everybody was there, and
I chose.
I mean, we're talking like several hundred people lined up. They called all our names, lined up, and he said, I could just see everybody because he actually was on a state championship team.
Yeah,
he actually went to
was
Midway.
69-70.
Right, and he's in his speech. He said, when they call these names, he said, I could just memories. He said, this is like the story of my life. Seeing these people, these are the teams that I helped coach and everything. And for him, it was a pretty good speech. I mean, it was a tearjerker type thing. My favorite memory of Coach Burchett, my 7th grade year, and he, if you ask him about me, this is the story I'll tell. My 7th grade year, we were in the gym, PE class, and my 7th grade year was his first year of ever teaching. He just got out of college, and he was exactly 10 years older than me. So if we're two old guys, he's a really old guy, even though, goddamn, he still looks younger than us. Pisses me off. But anyway, all the senior girls were walking through the gym and everything like that, and all these girls were in the gym, and we were doing a thing to roll. We had to run up to the trampoline and do a head roll onto the trampoline, and I ran up to it, and I put my head went stuck right in the springs of the side of the trampoline, and nobody would help me because I was there being choked, but everybody, especially Coach Burchett, was laughing so hard
they couldn't help you,
and I'm like, and it took them a while to pull those things apart.
Yeah,
and I had spring marks on my neck, but I probably didn't have oxygen for a while. It may be a little what's wrong with me. It may not all be Alzheimer's and dementia related. It may be trampoline and 7th grade related.
I can remember fond memories of Coach Burchett. He was the coach when I played and PE teacher. Mm-hmm. So good fond memories. Nothing to say bad.
Yeah, there were 7 classes we had back then. And I think I had him in 4 of this. So his first year teaching, he had me 4 of the 7 hours during the day. So
I had him for study hall.
Yeah, I had study hall with him.
I had study hall with him.
Yeah.
It'd been my freshman, sophomore, I think. Maybe freshman and sophomore year, I had him for study hall. So, and all you did was sit there and talk to your friends. So it wasn't like it's a
study hall.
We'd sit there and talk to hall. That's all we did.
Yeah.
We didn't do anything else.
A lot of fun. But growing up, of course, you came there your 7th grade year, wasn't it? Your 7th grade year? Mm-hmm. I the whole time I was at Midway, and it was in one big building. It still is. I think it's still in one big building, isn't it?
They've redone I drive by it every year and a half, 2 years, and I see they've made some vast improvements.
Yeah.
Vast improvements there.
That new gymnasium came along about the time we were...
Yeah.
About the time my class was 7th grade or so, 6th or 7th grade, the new gymnasium. I call it the new gymnasium. That would have been like 1976, 75, 76.
Yeah, in
so,
fact, I can remember going there in 7th grade, and it would have been Alan Wainwright or someone like that telling me that they had just built this, and you could still see the walls were still
the junior high area they built. Yeah.
Was still like the original walls and the windows from the band room, and I'm trying to think. Yeah, there was interesting times for me. Thanks for bringing it up.
We always had an award-winning football team,
and
basketball team, and our band
was always good.
And the music teacher and the band teacher were husband and wife,
right?
And they both had the same first name and last name, Carol Hayden.
Yep.
And their oldest son, which is one of my best friends, Carol Hayden. Yeah. And anyway, they left. I think my senior year. I think that's when they retired. I may be wrong about that, but I think so.
Right in there.
but they got #1 in state.
Oh yeah, there was
State
always a
competition several
very
times. Unbelievable.
crazy good band. My sister was in that band.
Yeah.
I can remember football halftime shows that they would put on, and they would do the homecoming band, the parades. They'd always appear in the Harrisonville, what used to be called the Log Cabin Festival. Is that even around anymore?
It's something else now. It's kind of like, well, they called it the Burnt District Festival for a while there, and I don't know what they call it now, if they call it that. So.
But I remember I filmed a couple of the Queen pageants.
Yeah. Log Cabin Queen.
Log Cabin Queen. And the first year I filmed it, maybe second year. First year I filmed it, my good friend Angie Hardwick won that.
I did the photography. Remember, I did the photography back then.
And you know what? Let me tell you right now. That girl is still absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. Remember she could sing?
Same. Yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable.
She could sing. She was just the personality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks exactly the same.
Everybody knew she was going to win it.
Hands down.
Yeah. So good. And remember that pageant was at the Lee Theater off the square in Harrisonville.
Yep.
A little side note, Lee Theater was owned by Dale Dunmire. Remember, Dale Dunmire was buying up all sorts of property.
Right.
And he wanted to tear that theater down. And the city said, no, it could be historic, blah, 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 don't tear it down. So he got a permit and he knocked the wall out and it collapsed. He got things done. He got it done the way he wanted to do it. Now that we could do 6 shows on that guy. Dale Dunmire was a very good friend of my dad's even before me, and a very good friend of my brother-in-law's, but unbelievable person. And just got the bad rap. He just misunderstood. He got the bad rap of, he's trying to come in here and take over. He's trying to come in here and improve it, but he was more of a...
I remember drinking with him one night.
Oh,
when we all went to the city, or we were in the city, but you and him and...
we were John's Big Deck.
Yeah.
John's Big Deck.
And we sat there.
And Billy Ebling was playing. Remember Billy Ebling, the musician, the one-man band?
Such a good night that night because he
had
just
a blast.
Kept forking out the cash for the drinks.
And he comes up to Billy Ebling and said, what would it take for you to leave this gig and come down and play at my bar? And the next night, Billy Ebling was down there for a month,
Great times.
Yeah.
He was a fun guy.
Dale Dunmire, just one of a kind. Really.
Fun guy.
And he just really had a good heart. And it just, Are we getting there?
We're getting there.
Time-wise?
We're there.
This was what, 16?
16, yes.
Episode 16. And please, let's repeat. We'd like everybody to like and share our shows so we can get it out there and get it expanding. We're wanting to be at least 5,000 views by the end of next week. And remember, Friday when we come in here and tape, I'm bringing my granddaughter, and Victor's bringing his daughter, and we're going to have a spin-off show, our first spin-off show called Two Young Kids Talking About Crazy Stuff That Don't Make Any Sense They See on YouTube.
Right, exactly. Well, and then don't forget we are going to go live here in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
We're going to go live. We're going to take call-ins. So make sure you seriously keep track of the shows.
Yeah.
And then you'll be able to know what show we're going to go live. And we'll promote it a little bit, and hopefully you'll share that to your friends. And we're going to put out the phone number like a couple of days beforehand.
Yeah.
We won't put it out until then, but we'll put the phone number out a couple of days beforehand, and then we'll have the live call-in. So please, I don't know how to say this. Keep it decent.
Yeah. Don't. We can say anything we want to on here. Who gives a fuck?
But
But anyway, but we want to try to keep it clean.
I want to be entertaining.
Yeah, exactly, entertaining. And I don't know if you figured this out or not. We're 15 shows into this. Mm-hmm. Is it 15? Was this episode 15?
This is 16.
16, okay. No. Yeah, 16. We're 16 shows into this. We don't touch on subjects that are argumentative. We just want to have a show telling about how things were as opposed to what they are now and what things have improved and what things we've lost.
And I'd love to hear someone's outside view about things like,
too.
Like the alcohol they used to drink and the bars they hung out at.
Send us comments. And if there's anything you think we can improve, we will read that comment. But we're old and set in our ways, so we probably won't change. Right?
Right, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Probably won't change. Also, I want to know, do you like the no beard? Or do you
like the no beard. Yeah, looks good.
You like the no beard? I look a lot younger without the beard.
Look 6-7 months younger.
Yeah, I was going for 5 months. So if it's 6 and 7, I've reached the goal. So. We may have to change the name of the show to one old man and another guy that looks a lot younger for his age now that he doesn't have a beard talking about stuff nobody cares about. But please like us and share us. We're at the Valley TV Production Studios, and you can find us on Real TV Now, right? Real TV. Yep. And how would we go if I wanted to look it up on YouTube? How would I do that?
YouTube, Real TV Now.
Oh, you'd write YouTube?
Yep, Real TV Now.
YouTube and then Real TV is one word or
slash YouTube/Real TV Now.
Okay, and but we would like feedback, and we'll start saying some of your feedback on the air. We're getting quite a bit. We want to improve the membership, and we want to get some advertisers in here that would like their product or their business promoted. So, and it's episode 16.
Yep.
For two old guys talking about stuff nobody cares about. Episode 16. I'm Curtis Coons along with Victor Garcia. Remember to like and share. Thank you.